Hello and welcome to Connect and Collaborate. I'm Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and today we have our monthly check-in with the Colorado Workforce Development Council. And I'm very excited to have in studio with me Britta Blodgett with the Colorado Workforce Development Council, lovingly known as CWDC. How are you doing today, Britta?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So as we know, the Colorado Workforce Development Council is a governor-appointed program. You bring business leaders and educators and other organizations together to grow the talent pipeline in Colorado, and you guys do some amazing work. But today we're going to be talking about apprenticeships, and we have in studio with us John Oeschle. He is the CEO of Swiftpage and Business Experiential-Learning Commissioner, better known as Bell Commissioner. So welcome, John. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. And so I mentioned apprenticeships. We're going to be talking about that today. So why today are we talking about apprenticeships?
So in November, we have National Apprenticeship Week. And so with our monthly radio show, we thought it would be a great chance to highlight some of the exciting work going on in Colorado around apprenticeships, and are really excited to have John with us here today to share some of what they're doing at Swiftpage and hear more about how we can help grow programs like this in Colorado and further grow our talent pipeline.
That is exciting. So let me ask you real quick. One of the things I think a lot of people have trouble distinguishing between are internships and apprenticeships, right? You hear those together a lot, and they're fairly similar, but there is quite a big difference, actually.
So in Colorado, we've actually developed a work-based learning continuum, and we talk about learning about work, learning through work, and learning at work. And on that, some of the programs, such as a career fair, might be driven more by a school or an education system, but an apprenticeship is really a business-led program where it's an employer-driven model and a form of experiential learning that combines on-the-job learning as a paid employee with related classroom instruction in order to increase the apprentice's skill level and wages. So that is our official definition of an apprenticeship in Colorado, versus some of those other activities that happen along the work-based learning continuum. And I would say that apprenticeships are really the gold standard of work-based learning.
Oh, okay. I like that. And so a lot of times apprenticeships, technically, are they paid or are they unpaid? How does that work?
An apprenticeship is paid.
It is paid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure. And most internships aren't, but it's exciting when they are.
Correct.
Yes. So we know that Apprenticeship Week is this month. What week, actually, is it?
It starts on the 12th of November. It's November 12th through the 18th, and there will be activities happening in Colorado and actually all across the country in celebration of apprenticeships.
Oh, cool. So it's a national looking at. Ooh, that's fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you guys have anything specific planned around that?
There will be an Excellence in Apprenticeship Awards event happening on the 14th. So we will be excited to celebrate some apprentices and some companies and some other system partners as well that are helping build out our apprenticeship systems across Colorado.
Oh, can you give us the lowdown on that yet?
Not quite ready to share that yet.
Oh, I tried. All right. So work-based learning. Do you mind going into that specifically for me? So we defined apprenticeship. Let's define work-based learning.
Yes. So work-based learning are opportunities that occur in part or in whole at the workplace. So really that hands-on experiential learning is another term that we use to kind of interchangeably with work-based learning as well, but providing that real-world hands-on experience.
Right on. That's exciting. So what's the work-based learning continuum?
So it actually is a graphic that we have that categorizes that working, learning about work, learning through work, learning at work, and the different activities that fall under each. So I think giving individuals and businesses a chance to figure out what might be right for them. Not everybody could jump right into an apprenticeship, but maybe you are able to host site visits. If you're a business, or maybe as a student, you're not ready to jump into an apprenticeship, but you could go to a career fair. So
Oh, okay, right on. So there's tons of different ways to get involved without committing yourself as a business to having an apprenticeship program. You can still offer site tours. That's exciting.
And I think that we want to try to build as much toward apprenticeships because we do think they offer tremendous value. So different ways to enter.
So tremendous value. Explain a little bit how does it bring that tremendous value?
So actually, I think I would turn to John and ask him how to tell us a little bit about Swiftpage and yourself, and then how you feel that apprenticeships bring value.
Yeah, sure. So my favorite topic, talking about Swiftpage.
Yay!
Not myself, but Swiftpage. But
That's fair.
Swiftpage was founded in 2001 right here in Denver, Colorado, by a man by the name of Bob Ogden. I've known Bob for 25 years. I was an early investor in the company, and it was, at that time, like an email marketing company. So think of Constant Contact, MailChimp, those types of players that were out there. I did a couple rounds of investment, started advising a company, helped them form a board. I tell a really funny joke that in 2012, I was at a board meeting, went to the restroom, came back, and they named me CEO. And I said, come on, guys, there's got to be a bathroom rule or something. So anyway. But,
what a terrible title to get plagued with, though, right?
Anyway, so took over in July of 2012. We did a couple of quick acquisitions. We acquired the ACT brand, which is a small business CRM, and then SalesLogix, which is more of an enterprise CRM. And we've been kind of working at that ever since. So we went from this little 15-person startup company to 350. We call our employees Swifties, 350 Swifties in 4 locations around the world. And so we're just having a ton of fun.
That is impressive, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I used to have hair back then, so.
So the stress. There is stress involved. Yeah. So do you mind, what is the Bell Commission? And what does it do? That's that business experiential learning.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Business experiential learning. And it's really a commission that was founded by the governor to really focus on an integrated work-based learning solution for the state of Colorado. If you think about the talent needs that we experience today, but more importantly, what we're going to be experiencing in the future as our economy continues to grow, this commission was put in place to kind of look across everything and try and pull it all together, because there was so much going on and all this disparate programs, et cetera. So it was really pull it all together. For the last 2 years, we've been really focused on the apprenticeship program. And a ton of work has been put into working with high schools, working with community colleges and universities, and then working with businesses to say, okay, how do we bring these together? And it's really modeled off of what was taking place over in Switzerland and over in Europe. They've really kind of nailed this down there. So we're saying, okay, let's learn from them, bring it in here, and figure out how to do it. So that's what we've been doing. I think we have, oh my gosh, about 175 apprentices right now, and maybe a little bit more coming out. We got the next wave coming through. It's a 3-year commitment for both the business and the student, and I think it had a really good start, and it's been very, very successful.
A 3-year commitment, that's a long time. So how old are the students that you're taking then? Are we looking at younger high school, junior high? Are we looking at after post high school
Yeah,
students?
so we usually start at junior year.
Okay.
So the junior and senior year, they kind of go to school for 2 or 3 days and work 2 or 3 days. And then 1 year after school, they work probably full time.
Okay.
And they're obviously, if you listen to the continuum, right, this is really learning at work. They're getting paid, so it's a paid apprenticeship. They're gaining all kinds of skill sets, how to get yourself into a business, how to act in a business, how to really work as part of a team. But they're also gaining enormous amount of skills, and these skills and this is why we're working with community colleges and universities, can get transferred into college credits. And so, our goal is to get them through the 3 years and, be right there with an associate's degree. And then if they want to go on for a 4-year degree, that's, fantastic. So yeah, it's a pretty exciting program.
Yeah.
And I think it really, as you're saying, it really sets people up to choose what path they want afterward. If you want to go on to a 4-year degree, great. If you want to go, continue straight on into the workforce, wonderful. But really broadening options for people.
Yes. So I did not write this down. How long have you guys been doing the Bell Commission? How long has that been in place?
I've been on it for 2 years. I think it's been around for about 2 years, maybe a little bit longer. Yeah.
All right. So are we just now going through our first set of students then?
So then your apprentices are through CareerWise?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So CareerWise has the youth apprenticeship, the in-school youth apprenticeship program in Colorado. And how many different apprentices do you have at Swiftpage?
Well, let's see. We started with 3. We're down. We're kind of go up and down. We're down to 1. We're getting ready to put in another 2. So we're anywhere from 1 to 3, depending on the timing.
Great.
Okay, so it's not an overwhelming number of students then.
Not for us.
Right.
Not for us. There are larger companies that have 25, 30 apprentices. So that could be pretty intense.
Yeah, but if you've got a big enough company to fill all those positions, right? That's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah.
So you've got the 2 years in. Do you mind talking a little bit about your experience with it?
Yeah, it was a journey, and I think as other companies are listening to this program, I think really look at it as a journey. We started all the way back through the whole continuum. We didn't really know what to expect, so we said, hey, you know what? One day, every couple of months, bring a bunch of students in, and we'll tell them what we do. And then the Swifties kind of got excited about that, and they were like, oh, when's our next time? And they would bring anywhere from 25, 30 students for a couple of hours, and we would tell them everything. So that was our first step on the journey. And then we said, well, let's do high school interns in the summer or even after school. And these were non-paid. And so that was kind of the next step is, we're going to have high schoolers around. Oh my God, we had to change all our HR policies. We really didn't have to. That's what we thought. So there was all that kind of stuff going on. Then we dove really deep into it, and we started working with open world learning and kids tech, and we created what we called Swifty Boot Camp. It was 2 weeks in the summer, and we brought up to 10 students in. We broke them into groups, we gave them projects, and at the end they had to present their projects, and then we gave the winner a $2,500 scholarship. So that was really kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then we said, okay, we're ready. We're now ready to do apprenticeships. So, that was our journey. And I think if you're a company and you're saying, how do I get into it? Just don't jump into the deep end of the pool. Make sure you kind of do some kind of a journey. It doesn't have to be, that was like a 3-year journey for us. It doesn't have to be that long, but get yourself prepared because
Right,
it is a bit different.
Yeah. Well, that is exciting. One of the things that I wish I would have done was apply for more scholarships when I was younger. That's $2,500. That's an entire semester for community college.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what fun stuff you guys did.
And in terms, I guess, what were the benefits that you saw out of each one of those experiences for your company?
So the first benefit was, taking all the myths and misconceptions out of the picture, right? Because you're just like, we can't have high school people here. We're a startup. We have a kegerator in the lunchroom. Oh my God, we're gonna have to put a lock on it. All that kind of stuff. So just kind of get all of that out of the way. And then it was like, oh, we're gonna have to change all of our HR policies. Okay, well you look at the HR policies and you're like, you know what, we really don't. There's a couple that we had to put in, but we didn't. So I think the benefits were just kind of learning that it's not going to be as difficult as we thought it was going to be. But I think the biggest lesson is to get the or in our case Swifties or employees involved, because that's another thing is like, wait a minute, this person's going to show up and I got to manage this person? No way, I don't have time to do that, etc. But by doing it the way we did it, everybody got excited and it's like, hey, when's the next time we're going to do this? And then they kind of took ownership of it, and it wasn't me saying we will do this type of thing. Although I do that sometimes. But so anyway, those are some of the key learnings that we had.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting.
Did you have other things that really surprised you beyond that HR was actually you didn't have to change things dramatically?
I think the biggest surprise was how mature these kids are. I mean, I don't know about you. I have 4 kids, 3 grandkids, and so that's my picture of like, oh my God, it's going to be crazy in here. But these kids are like, they come in, they're very professional, they're mature, and the biggest surprise was they just fit in, and you all of a sudden you don't even realize they're there, and you're like, oh my God, this is fantastic. So that was a huge surprise for us, probably the biggest one.
And the apprentice that you have currently, what department is he or she in? What is the kind of work that person's doing?
Yeah, so it's Jack, and he's in the IT help desk area. And so he helps us with everything. So if you have a problem with your desktop, or if you have a problem with email or something like that, he helps out. He helps us out with wiring, any other special projects. We're just in the process of moving, since you took the space that we wanted, but that's a different story. Anybody interested, call me. I'll tell you the whole story. But we had, we're moving to a different floor, and so all that, planning, and he's involved in the team. He's a key member of the team, and so he's going to be doing a lot of that, which is great experience for him. Now, when you walk into the new space, they got to figure out the wiring and make sure the network's up and running and things like that. So he's getting an enormous amount of on-the-job training.
Absolutely. It seems like a really incredible experience for him to be exposed to that, in addition to the day-to-day that he's already been learning from.
And he eats like crazy, this kid. I've never seen anybody eat like him in my life.
15, 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, I think he's going to his senior year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But oh my God, one of the things we do, we provide like free soda and that kind of stuff, and there's always food. And man, I'd never see this kid without food. And I'm like, how do you do it?
You were there once too.
I was. Now I can't do that now.
Yeah. What kind of feedback are you getting from your apprentices, and not just Jack, but other apprentices? What kind of feedback are they leaving behind with you guys when they finish the program?
I don't think we've had anybody go through the entire program yet, because we're right in the middle of it. But we're getting a lot of positive feedback from the apprentices, and we're getting a lot of positive feedback from 2 other people, right? The parents, which is it's a key thing, and then the companies. And I think if you talk to other companies, they would say the same thing. Is this surprise is, wow, these kids are mature. They're adding a ton of value. And in some cases, running circles around some other folks that you wouldn't expect too. So I think really, really positive feedback.
Wonderful.
And so you would say then that you believe that apprenticeships are a good business strategy?
I do. I think it can't be your only strategy, though. So I think the challenge that most businesses have, and we'll put our hand up and say we have it as well, is that you from a resource perspective, we tend to think too short term. You're budgeting for next year, like, well, how many heads do we need next year? And that's all you really think. And I think what you have to do is take a step back and say, what is my long-term resource strategy? When I say long-term, it's a 3 to 5 year strategy. And then as you do that, then I think this program fits really, really nicely in there. But I don't think it can be your only strategy, but it can definitely be a very important part of your overall strategy.
A component of it. Well, I think it's so valuable, all of the pieces along the work-based learning continuum and the earlier programs that you said that you were hosting, is that the nature of work and the jobs that are out there are changing so quickly. But unless you actually see somebody doing a job, you don't know that that's out there for something for you to try to be doing. So I think that the importance of bringing students or even other job seekers into your business to see what that industry is about and what the possible opportunities are, all the way up to providing something like an apprenticeship program where they get to do the work and grow their skills, are so important if we want to continue to grow our talent pipeline in Colorado.
It's going to be so critical. I heard a statistic the other day which just blew me away. So by 2030, which is only 12 years away, right? So it sounds so far out, doesn't it? I know, it's crazy. It's like, wow.
You're making it very real.
But they said by 2030, 50% of the jobs that are needed then haven't even been invented yet.
Which is astounding, right?
It's nuts, right?
Yeah.
And that's why programs like this are going to be so important to keep up with that kind of a pace. it's only 12 years away.
Yes. Yeah, you stop that. But look, so one of those categories is cybersecurity, right?
Yeah.
It's huge right now, and you mentioned that Jack is he's at your IT help desk, right? And so I'm sure he's seeing a lot of that change right now.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about cybersecurity, you think about robotics, artificial intelligence, those are really, really hot right now, big data.
Yeah.
And so those are things that kids are getting exposed to right now. Even if you think like, oh, okay, well, you have to be in a cybersecurity business to get cybersecurity. No, we have those issues right now. We have 84,000 customers, over 300,000 users around the world. And guess what? We have to protect their information. And so he's getting a big dose of that as well.
Absolutely. Well, every industry across the board, if you have anything that you're doing online, cybersecurity is a very real threat to you.
Yep.
And so I think that's one of the big categories that we're going to see, jobs that don't exist yet. They're just going to keep coming about. I like to think of, we're going to have a cyber space force, right?
Yeah.
Eventually is where we're going to get.
Well, and I think that's why in Colorado we're also really focused on skills-based education, training, and hiring. So you might not have the same job, but you have skills that could apply to that job that has yet to exist.
Right.
And so making sure both that people can articulate what those skills are that they have and that they're continuing to grow them. But I think that evolving lifelong learner mindset is also going to continue to be important for us as well.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we have a few minutes here in this first segment. Where can I find more information about how to get involved with perhaps the Bell Commission, or get my company involved with getting apprenticeships?
We'll sign you up today.
Wonderful. Lovely. Tell me where.
So there is a website actually called Apprenticeship Evolution, which is the result of the work of the Bell Commission, and that provides information for businesses, additional information about potentially setting up work-based learning opportunities or creating apprenticeships, and also for job seekers, whether it's a student who's interested in an apprenticeship or also an adult job seeker looking for something like that as well.
Oh, nice. That's the exciting thing is about apprenticeships, I think, is that it doesn't matter what age. You can be an apprentice at any age, which to me was fascinating until I got into this environment and started talking with Colorado Workforce Development Council once a month. It was something I didn't even know existed for somebody over the age of 18, really.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So CareerWise is in Colorado, our in-school youth apprenticeship program, but the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment has a work-based learning unit, and they have a ton of resources for helping businesses, supporting businesses as they're looking to develop their own apprenticeship programs as well. And Apprenticeship Evolution is a good place to start.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. Where can I find more information about Swiftpage?
Swiftpage.com.
Wonderful.
It's pretty simple. Or our products are act.com, ACT.com.
Okay.
So that's the products that we sell.
Yeah. So any last words of advice in this first segment here about what you would say to an employer to look out for or to be aware of?
I would say that, again, don't just jump into the deep end of the pool. Really get yourself, whatever your right way to do it is, start a little bit small, get some kids in, tell them what you do, maybe do an intern, etc., and then get yourself prepared. The number one thing that you have to focus on is your HR department. Make sure that your HR department understands what you're doing, is on board, because they're going to say, and we've all seen it, right? You look at job descriptions, say must have a 4-year degree and 25 years experience, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to have to change a lot of that and the whole mentality, and it starts there and it drives down into the managers of the functions.
I would agree, and that opens up your horizons too for better employment opportunities.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. We're going to take a quick break here on Connect and Collaborate, so stay with us. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube page while you're here. Check out this podcast more at cobrt.com/radio-podcast. Check out Colorado Workforce Development Council for all of their shows, including this one. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. Hello and welcome back to Connect and Collaborate. Once again, I'm Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and you might have noticed we've added some guests for the second segment here with the Colorado Workforce Development Council. Again, we have Britta Blodgett in studio. She is with the Colorado Workforce Development Council, as well as John Oeschle. He is the CEO of Swiftpage, as well as a Bell Commissioner that's better known as Business Experiential-Learning Commissioner. And I have next to me here in studio Ethan Bowie, and he is a steward, data steward apprentice with the CWDC.
Oh.
Welcome, Ethan.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yes, and then by phone we have with us Judy Emery, and she is with the Colorado Urban Workforce Alliance. Again, that's the director of CUWA. I've made that up. I don't know if you have an acronym, Judy, but thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So we'll go ahead and jump right back into this apprenticeships. We're focusing on apprenticeships this month for you because the week of November 12th through the 18th is Apprenticeship Week, not just in Colorado, but nationally. So exciting stuff going on.
Yes.
Yes.
That's great.
So businesses must lead in regard to apprenticeships and work-based learning, but who are the other groups that are involved with growing apprenticeships and WBL, work-based learning, here in Colorado?
Yes, so I think as John mentioned earlier, there are a lot of different partners involved, K-12 education, post-secondary education and training, the public workforce system, nonprofit organizations such as CareerWise, all play a part in helping get these various work-based learning and apprenticeships up and running in Colorado. And so that's part of the reason that we wanted to have Judy join us today and share a little bit more about her perspective on that. So Judy, could you share a bit about you and your organization, please?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. Thank you. And we do have an acronym. It is CUA. You did get it right.
Yes.
But the CUA has been around now for over 12 years, and right now it represents 10 local public workforce areas up and down the Front Range and also over in Grand Junction. This alliance basically supports regional workforce efforts, but more specifically, sector initiatives, career pathways, and work-based learning opportunities. So we try to coordinate and support different activities across the different workforce areas. One of the sectors that's been going for a really long time is what's called the Greater Metro Denver Healthcare Partnership. This, again, is an industry-led collaborative. It brings together workforce, education, economic development, and community partners together. It's been going for over 10 years. And what the goal and what the industry has decided is what their unmet need is and what they want this sector to concentrate on is to meet their industry's recruitment, retention, and training needs. As identified by, there's actually 7 hospital systems representing over 50 hospitals and 75 ambulatory outpatient clinics. And one way to support that their training needs or their workforce needs is by supporting apprenticeships and work-based learning opportunities for the different targeted occupations that they've identified. And so that's how we've been very involved with apprenticeships over the last couple of years.
Great. And I know, is it fairly recently you have launched a new medical assisting apprenticeship program?
Yes. Would you like me to tell you a little bit about it?
Yes,
or?
If you could share a little bit about that and kind of who was involved with the creation of it and how did it come to be?
Okay. So, again, what's really great about a sector initiative is you have all the partners at the table. And so what this sector initiative did is they identified 10 targeted occupations that they wanted the partnership to concentrate on in filling their workforce needs, and one of them was a medical assistant. And so as one of the targeted occupations, so this sector initiative worked very closely with the medical assistant programs offered through the community college system a while back, and actually shortened the length of the program and also made sure that it was meeting industry standards. And it was that basis that Centura stepped up then and said, wow, we'd really be interested in taking a look at that curriculum a little bit more closely and developing a MA apprenticeship program. And so that apprenticeship program launched, probably about 2 years ago, and it's gone through different renditions. But right now, it's a 12-month program. 6 months is primarily the educational piece, the training piece. And everybody plays a specific role in this apprenticeship. So, for example, Centura worked very closely with one of the community colleges, it's the Arapahoe Community College, to actually develop the apprenticeship curriculum so that it would meet their standards. Centura also worked very closely with Workforce and the other partners in submitting for a U.S. Department of Labor registered apprenticeship for this program. Workforce, in turn, also assisted in basically understanding the type of individual that Centura was looking for, and so did very active recruitment and screening of potential trainees. And once trainees were selected by Centura, then Workforce assisted in the payment of that training program. And then ACC worked very closely with Centura just to make sure that everything about that training program, adapting that shortened program to an actual registered apprenticeship program, met Centura's need. And then Centura, in turn, also assisted, once individuals were selected, in financially supporting these individuals with this training. So everybody had a role. It was really a partnership, to say the least, and we're now entering into our third cohort. It's gone through, it gets tweaked every time that we go through it, and it's refined a little bit more, but we just went through the whole recruitment effort, and our next cohort will start in January.
That's wonderful. So it really, I love this example because it illustrates how many different partners are involved sometimes, but the industry is really still leading and saying this is what we need, and it sounds like the sector partnership can really help facilitate the public partners helping to meet the needs of industry. Do you think that that's true, Judy?
Oh, I absolutely do. And when I say it's been tweaked, the initial training provider was actually out of state, and it was successful with that training provider. It was more online training from out of state, but Centura and all the partners had an interest in bringing it into Colorado, and so that's why they approached one of the community colleges, who was very responsive and worked with Centura to make it work. So it's industry-led, just like you said, but everybody's got a role. It's great.
And do you feel like there are other benefits of this program existing in addition to the ones you've already highlighted?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that. Can you repeat that?
Sure, sorry. Do you feel as though, in addition to some of the benefits that you've already discussed, there are additional ones for the business and for the community for having a program such as this?
Absolutely. So for an individual who'd like to get into healthcare, the great thing about it is they're earning. They have financial earnings while they're learning, to be a medical assistant. So it's an earn while you learn approach. It's also competency-based, so the salary increases periodically as competencies are met. For education, it's great because now education has what's considered an industry-recognized training program. So they, in turn, are being very responsive to to Centura and the medical facilities. For the industry, they get to train individuals the way they want them trained. And so, again, it seems to be a win-win all the way around. And for Workforce, who is helping to financially support it and actually also recruit and screen, they have a better indication of the type of candidates that they can financially support that will probably be successful.
That's wonderful.
Yep. it's fun.
That's good. That's an added bonus. So I think we also want to talk to Ethan as well. And as we've been talking about apprenticeships and what it's like from a business perspective to have to implement those programs in your company, and from a workforce perspective and a sector partnership, what it's like to get those off the ground. Ethan, what is it like to be an apprentice? What attracted you to becoming an apprentice?
I think the first thing that attracted me to becoming an apprentice, it was, currently I'm a senior, so during my junior year I was thinking about the future of what I'd be doing, and for senior year I'd be having, usually because during senior year you've gotten most of your classes done, so you'd have a lot of extra off hours, so there's a lot of extra time there that you could be putting towards something, and I saw this apprenticeship and it seemed like a good idea. Being able to get paid while you're learning and learning new skills that you can apply in college and in future jobs, it was a big plus for me.
Great. What is the day-to-day of being an apprentice like for you?
So I'm currently apprenticing at the CWDC, and every day there is a little bit different, so I like that, being able to use different skills every day and learning about my strengths and weaknesses is something I like to do. Yeah.
Great. So you do also go to school. What is it like to balance school and work at the same time in this way?
So a lot of my friends and family talk about it like it's almost like I'm already in college, because it's I go to school half day until about 12, and then I head to work for the other half. So it's a lot. I like it's sometimes difficult being able to juggle it, but I'm sure after the apprenticeship, I'll be able to look back and be proud of what I've been able to accomplish.
Welcome to adulting.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
If you were to pick a word to describe what it's like to be an apprentice, do you have a word that you would use, or a word that you associate with being an apprentice?
I'd probably have to say adaptable. I think that learning new skills is a plus, and through the apprenticeship, your coworkers and you kind of work together and mold how your work style is. So I think it's adaptable.
Great.
How long have you been doing your apprenticeship, and how much more do you have to go?
So I just started junior year. So you're supposed to start the start of junior year, but I started the start of my senior year.
Oh.
So I started the beginning of July. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And how much further do you have to go?
So just about 2.5 more years. Yep.
Cool. Are you do you have applications in to go to school, or are you going to stick with this and then go to school later? What are your plans outside of the apprenticeship?
Great, good question. So the career-wise has, for the first, second, and third years, there's a differing amount of hours you kind of work in.
Oh, okay.
So for the first year, it's just 16, and then it'll increase from there. But I have applied to some schools, and then being able to juggle college and work, it'll be somewhat similar, so I'll make it work.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right on. Do you have a major you've picked out yet, or are you going to take your general classes first?
So career-wise has 5 or 6 major pathways you can take,
Yeah.
and I'm currently in the business operations side, hopefully going for something in business management.
All right, right on. Do you have a particular career in mind that you would like to eventually get to, or are you just going to take some paths and see where you get?
Yeah, so the great thing with the apprenticeship is I get to meet lots of people and many jobs that I never even heard of.
Right.
And going into college, I'm still not sure what exactly I'm aiming for, but with this, it's a great experience to learn more.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to pick right now.
Yeah.
That's the best part of it. Yeah.
Thank you, Ethan. And I think, at the Colorado Workforce Development Council, as we're trying to help grow apprenticeships across the state, it was important for us to also have an apprentice too, and we've been very lucky to have Ethan on our team. He really has added a ton of value, so thank you, Ethan.
Thank you.
I guess I also wanted to toss out to all three of you, what advice or other thoughts would you really want businesses to know as they're considering developing an apprenticeship program from the business perspective, from your perspective, Ethan, as as an apprentice, and also you, Judy, as a public partner who is instrumental in this work.
We'll start here with you, John.
Okay, yeah, we're all looking at each other like, who should start? We talked about this in the last segment. I think, as a company, really, think about what is your long-term resource planning or resource strategy. See how this fits in, and then when it does, and then, be on a journey. Get yourself ready. Look at your HR organization, maybe do a couple of events where you have students come in and talk about your business or whatever, and just kind of evolve your way into it, I think would be the best way to do. I mean, when you listen to Judy, and she did a great job of explaining how it sounds so complicated, right? Where you have to have all these different partners working together. And I remember when I first got on the Bell Commission, we started talking about this, my head exploded. I was like, oh my God, we're never going to get anything done. But people, we just figured out how to have all these partners working together. I think from a business perspective, you don't realize all that goes on behind the scenes to make this happen. And we're doing it for the business community, right? So take advantage of it, I think, is one thing that I would say, is really take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Judy, thoughts?
Yeah, and thank you for that, John, because it is a lot of moving parts behind the scenes. But like I said, if everybody clearly identifies what role everybody will play, and industry is driving what they want as a final outcome, it just works. The other cool thing, I think, for businesses, people are getting exposed to career pathways through apprenticeships and work-based learning models. So, for example, a couple of the individuals that went through our medical assisting apprenticeship program is now on course to become a nurse. One person's going to become a nurse, and one person's going to go into rad tech. So it's kind of a, you're feeding the pipeline through this, because you're going to replace those individuals with another medical assistant apprentice, and the industry are getting their needs met. So it's really exciting. It's really fun to see people be successful through these models. It's wonderful.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And Ethan, what would you tell another student who's looking to do an apprenticeship program?
I'd tell another student, I'd say, take the leap. You can, at first, you might think that you don't have many skills to offer, but just working so far through my apprenticeship, I've realized I have a lot of skills that I can use to help the council with.
Yeah, and what would you tell the CWDC or any other businesses that are looking to get involved? What should they expect from the apprenticeships?
I'd definitely say expect a lot from your apprentices, and they'll rise up to the need, because I think they're adaptable and they'll work towards the top.
I like that. Now give me the tea. What are they doing wrong?
After the show.
Yeah, so we have a few more minutes here. I know you had one more question for us, Britta.
Yes, so actually I would be curious to know if you have advice for apprentices, John, in terms of what they should expect or things that they should think about, what would make them successful.
Yeah, I really like Ethan's word, adaptable. I think that's the key. And I think, with this first cohort that came through, we were all just kind of figuring it out, and we were like, okay, you're going to be this IT help desk person, or you're going to be this business operations person, or this or whatever. And business doesn't always work that way. So when you walk in the door, you're like, okay, well, we don't have that for you today, but we have these 17 other things. Come on over here. So you need to understand that you will learn what you want to learn, but you're going to learn so much more if you just be adaptable and recognize the fact that business, we tell the Swifties, if ambiguity is not your middle name, you probably shouldn't work for Swiftpage, because if you walk in the door and you think, I know exactly what I'm doing today, it's not going to happen. So that's what you need to think about as an apprentice as well.
Yeah, that's great. That makes sense. I always say I like a plan from which to deviate.
That's a good one. I like that.
I like that too. I've not heard that, actually. But I agree with you. I think a lot of companies, that ambiguity is a key component in a lot of industries, right, across the board. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing, again, I know I keep comparing apprenticeships and internships, but I think that's an important distinction. Internships, a lot of times you're mostly shadowing someone, I feel, and so you're doing the copies and you're getting the coffee, right? And you're kind of the mundane work that nobody really wants to do. Whereas in an apprenticeship, you kind of have your own workstation and you're doing real hands-on tasks and you're giving back to your employers, right? You have real projects that you're working on all the time.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it varies by opportunity and by business, certainly, but I think that's really the goal with work-based learning, is to get those hands-on experiences so people can decide, yes, this is for me, or maybe, no, this isn't for me, but I can take these skills and do this other thing that helps contribute. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Judy, do you have any advice that you would give or information you'd want to highlight for businesses considering apprenticeships?
Well, again, I think for businesses, I like the word adaptability, because what is needed in the way of jobs is changing so rapidly, the type of skill and things like that. So businesses informing training providers and workforce, about now I need this. And everybody's learning how to be responsive to what the trends are here and now. And I just think that that's an advantage, because the industry is driving it. And everybody's learning how to be adaptable and nimble and responsive, which I think is just a great opportunity.
Great. Thank you.
That is wonderful. We have just about 3 minutes left here in this segment. One of my favorite things, I make Britta do this almost every time she's in here, that I like to ask is, I like to ask everyone, no matter what path they took or where they are now, what was your dream job? What would you love to do if you weren't doing what you're doing? John, I'm going to start here with you.
Oh, I thought I was going to be an NFL quarterback. So I was a quarterback in high school and then in college, and I had these grandiose things, and but I'm only about I say I'm 6 foot, but I'm not 6 foot anymore. And, as you get older, you shrink, and so but no, that's what I thought I was going to be, and probably
for the Broncos.
No, I'm from Philadelphia, so I was going to be an Eagle. So
I'll allow it, but I'm not happy about it. And your dream job?
I think so far maybe a business owner.
Business owner, all right.
Being able to contribute back into the community is a good thing, and this apprenticeship is one of those. Yeah.
You know what? I don't feel like that dream's that far off for you. I feel like
maybe.
You're going to get there. Yeah.
I agree.
Judy, how about you?
So I always thought I would go into business. I'm not sure exactly what in business, and I went a totally different route. And I guess I'm almost in a dream job right now, because that's what I'm doing, is working with business. And so as close as I could get at the time in my professional career, and so without making any major drastic change. So I'm kind of living it right now.
Oh, I love that. Well, congratulations on that. I hope for more other people to be able to live that dream out. And Britta, I know I've asked you before, but for our audience this time around.
Well, when I was a child, I wanted to be a ballerina doctor plumber.
A ballerina doctor plumber.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That was my dream job when I was little.
So I'm imagining the tutu and the stethoscope and a wrench, right? Is that essentially wonderful? Myself, I wanted to be a mermaid, so that was.
Wow.
You have to be born into that career. So that one's pretty far-fetched for me. Judy, we have just about a minute here. Tell me where I can find more out about CUA, as you so lovingly called it. CUA.
Actually, we do not currently have a website, but we are actively looking at web pages for our healthcare, or for our sectors. And one that I would encourage anybody who's thinking about going into healthcare for any type of targeted occupation is to go to our website. It's healthcaredenver.com, and it's got a wealth of information on there, because we did a big marketing effort to really try to expose people to the different career pathways in healthcare. So that's what I would recommend.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here. This has been a great show today. I really appreciate you going on this journey with me through apprenticeships. So again, Apprenticeship Evolution is a great resource for anyone out there who is looking for that. And check out as well Swiftpage.com. You can find more information there, or for your products, act.com. That's ACT.com. Thank you so much, and be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page while you're here. Not thumbs down, thumbs up. And check out this podcast and more at cobrt.com/radio-podcast. Thank you all. It's been lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.